Okay, picture this. You're walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's the 1800s, under construction.
Oh, wow.
No safety harnesses, barely any helmets, workers just like hanging hundreds of feet in the air.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Makes you appreciate how far we've come, right? And that's what today's deep dive is all about. Construction safety inspectors, what they do, why it matters.
And trust me, their job is way more intense than it might seem at first glance.
Right. Our sources lay out the basics, inspections, identifying hazards, reports. Sounds kind of, routine on paper.
Yeah, but those reports, those
Yeah.
inspections, they're directly tied to people's lives. One missed detail could snowball into, well, disaster.
Yeah.
Projects get delayed, someone gets hurt. Their work really underpins everything.
It's a huge responsibility. And speaking of keeping up with things, our sources mention adaptability, new building materials, tech. You can't just rest on your laurels in this job.
Oh, absolutely. Think 3D printed buildings. That's a whole other ballgame, safety-wise. Stuff old school inspectors never even dreamed of. So yeah, constant learning is part of the deal.
Makes sense. Always going to stay ahead of the curve. But let's shift gears for a sec to what it's actually like to be a construction safety inspector, and maybe why some people wouldn't last a day. The work environment.
Right.
It's not exactly a cushy office job, is it?
Not even close.
Yeah.
Our sources paint a picture of noisy, dusty job sites. Sometimes you're up on a skyscraper. Other days it's scorching heat inspecting scaffolding.
So not for the faint of heart,
Mm.
or those with dust allergies, I guess. But one thing that surprised me, it's not a solo gig, right? You're not just off on your own all the time.
Definitely not. You're the link between all these different people, workers, managers, making sure everyone understands the safety stuff, that it's taken seriously.
So strong communication skills, that's got to be up there on the must-have list.
Absolutely. A good construction safety inspector, they're basically a top-notch communicator.
I imagine it's kind of like a surgeon and their team, right? Even the best surgeon in the world needs everyone else on the same page to make the surgery a success.
100%.
But okay, back to the tech stuff for a minute, because our sources make it clear this isn't your grandpa's construction site anymore. What kind of cool gadgets are we talking about?
Well, for starters, drones.
No way.
Yeah, they're becoming super common. Aerial views of the entire site, you can check for hazards, monitor progress, all that, without, dangling off a crane or
It's
something.
much safer. Drones are really changing everything these days, huh?
It's true, but it's not just drones. How about sensors? Built right into the structure itself.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they can track stress points, temperature, even tiny movements in the foundation, and send that data straight to the inspector's device.
So we're talking real-time monitoring of the buildings, vital signs.
Pretty much. It's like giving the building a nervous system and the inspector gets to play doctor.
That's wild. It seems like the old image of a construction safety inspector with their clipboard is a little outdated.
Totally. And don't even get me started on virtual reality.
Oh, here we go. Tell me everything.
Well, some companies are using it for safety training now. Workers can experience simulated hazards, like what to do if a scaffold collapses, all in a safe, controlled environment.
That's incredible. Way more effective than those old safety videos they used to make us watch. So we've covered drones, sensors, VR. The future of construction safety is looking pretty high-tech. But what about the career itself? How does it stack up for someone looking for, stability, advancement, all that good stuff?
Yeah, let's dig into that. One of the first things our sources pointed out is the crazy high demand for qualified inspectors.
That's no surprise, right? Construction is booming pretty much everywhere I look.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all those new projects, they need someone watching out for safety. So, yeah, job security is definitely a big plus.
Music to a job seeker's ears, right? But high demand usually means long hours, tough deadlines.
True. Construction isn't exactly known for being a 9-to-5 gig. Things prop up, delays happen. Sometimes you got to make a judgment call on the spot. Could even mean halting a whole project if there's a serious safety concern.
Yeah.
Not everyone can handle that kind of pressure.
Definitely sounds like you need to be able to think on your feet, make tough decisions. But hey, our sources also pointed out the flip side, job security. When the economy's uncertain, that peace of mind is priceless. But what about someone who, wants to climb the ladder? Is there room for growth in this field?
Absolutely. You've got your senior inspector roles, managing a team, even moving into more strategic positions. And then there are the certifications.
Oh yeah, the certifications. Those always sound impressive. But what do they actually do for your career?
They show employers you're serious, that you've gone the extra mile to master your craft. The source specifically mentioned the CSP, the Certified Safety Professional, and the CHST, the Construction Health and Safety Technician. Those are like gold standards in the industry.
So it's not just about adding another line to your resume, it's about opening doors to new opportunities, higher salaries, all that. And it sounds like even once you've got the job, you're constantly learning, adapting to new technologies, new challenges.
For sure, construction is always pushing boundaries, building bigger, bolder, more complex structures. And safety has to keep pace with that. Someone who loves to learn, who's always up for a challenge, they'd thrive in this environment.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've established that construction safety inspectors, they're vital to keeping projects on track, people safe. But what about the person behind the hard hat? What kind of skills and mindset would make someone excel in this line of work?
Well, our sources were pretty clear on this one. Critical thinking is non-negotiable.
Okay, so not just checking off boxes on a list, right?
No, it's about constantly assessing risk,
Yeah.
spotting potential hazards before they become an issue. You're making judgment calls that could have huge consequences.
Right, like that gut feeling that something's not right, even if you can't quite put your finger on it.
Exactly. And once you've got that feeling, that's where those communication skills come in.
Because you've got to be able to explain that feeling, right? Make sure everyone understands what you're seeing.
100%. Remember, you're the bridge between those regulations and the people actually putting them into practice. Could be explaining a safety protocol to a worker who's new on the job, or having a tough conversation with a project manager who's pushing deadlines. Clear, effective communication, that's what keeps everyone on the same page and ultimately keeps everyone safe.
So we've got critical thinking, communication, but I feel like there's another layer here too, right? Like people skills.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just about the buildings, it's about the people dealing with all these different personalities.
Exactly. Construction workers, architects, managers. You've got to be able to connect with all of them, build trust.
Especially when you have to deliver tough news or push back on something, that takes real finesse.
It's true. Diplomacy is a big part of the job. And our sources actually touched on this when they talked about career progression. As you get more experience, you might find yourself mentoring newer inspectors, doing safety trainings.
So even shaping the safety culture of an entire company, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And this actually ties into something really interesting our research uncovered. There are all these other related career paths that, someone interested in construction safety might want to explore.
Oh, like what? Give me some examples.
Well, how about quality control inspector? They're the ones making sure all the materials used are up to snuff, meet the standards.
Right. Super detail-oriented, making sure everything's built to last.
Exactly. Or there's safety manager, more of a big picture role, overseeing safety for a whole company, not just one site. Policies, risk assessments, all that.
So instead of being on the front lines, you're more the strategist.
That's a good way to put it. And the cool thing is, even if you start as, say, a construction safety inspector with the right experience, certifications, networking, you can move into one of these other roles. It's not a dead end by any means.
I love that. So for our listener who's been with us this whole time, soaking it all in, what's the one thing you want them to walk away with?
I'd say if you're passionate about safety, if you like problem solving, and you want a job where you can really see your impact on the world, the construction industry needs you.
Whether you're on a job site or behind the scenes, you're playing a part in making sure buildings are safe, that projects get finished, and honestly, that's a pretty incredible feeling knowing you're making a difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And hey, maybe someday it'll be your story we're sharing on the deep dive, talking about how you turned your passion for construction safety into an amazing career.
Now that's something I'd love to hear.
That's all the time we have for today, but keep those hard hats on and those minds open because there's always more to explore right here on the deep dive.